Hello, everybody, and welcome back to my favorite horror movie. Each week, I have a special guest join me to discuss their favorite horror film. And my guest today is a writer, director, and co-host of the Midnight Mass podcast. I'm so excited to welcome back Michael Varrati. Michael, how's it going today?
It's going great. We're here in October. It is officially Halloween season. Not that it's not Halloween all year round for us monster kids, but I'm excited that the season is well underway. How are you?
Oh my gosh, good. This is so funny. Whenever I write introductions, I think of the introductions that you and Peaches do for Midnight Mass because you guys put so much thought into your intros, and I feel like you guys really make your guests feel welcome. And I don't know, you guys do so great on your introductions. So whenever I'm writing mine, I'm like, this does not live up to the Midnight Mass standard. But you guys do so good with those.
Oh, thank you. And your intro is great. I didn't realize that we had set any kind of standard, which I'm sure would horrify a lot of people who think we are miscreants. So
Oh my
I'll take
gosh.
it.
I got to tell you, I'm so devastated. I was covering LA Comic Con over this past weekend, and it was a long, busy, busy weekend. The second I left on Sunday, I sat down in my car, checked Instagram, and I saw your story. I was so sad that I missed your panel. I literally left like maybe an hour and a half before it started. How did it go?
It went really well. It was a very good discussion. It was a variation on a queer horror discussion, which, we have at a lot of different conventions. But this one was put together by Sean Abley, who is a longstanding writer, and he was the creator of one of the first queer horror columns in Fangoria back in the day called Gay of the Dead, if not the first queer horror column. And Sean wanted to do something a little different, and he proposed the idea of getting a group of us together to talk about problematic horror films that we've come back around to embrace, and why we think it's important that despite the issues, maybe despite the problematic elements, these movies are still important and require another look. And I thought it was a good conversation.
Yeah, that is such a great idea. I'm so bummed to have missed it, but I'm glad to hear it went well. And now we're both here, and this is your second year being on my favorite horror movie. Last year we talked about Night of the Creeps, which was so fun, and I was so excited when you got back to me and you said you were available to join me again this year. Michael, what movie did you pick for us to discuss this year?
I picked A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4, The Dream Master. This movie means quite a bit to me, and when you reached out and asked me to pick another one of my favorite horror movies, it kind of came to mind because I remember it being one of those video store rental. I just was obsessed with it. I kept renting it. It was the movie that really introduced Freddy to me during kind of the height of Freddy mania, and I still hold a lot of affinity for it. It's interesting because I know so many people love the original movie, and so many people love A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, The Dream Warriors. And I get that. Those movies are both phenomenal and kind of hold equal footing in the horror sphere for very obvious reasons. But because this was my first Elm Street movie, I always have a lot of strong memories about it, and I'll always maybe love it the most, even
Hmm.
if maybe to the outsider it's not the best, it's my favorite. So,
Yeah, I thought it was so interesting that you picked the fourth entry because I feel like it's so rare when you ask someone what their favorite movie is in a franchise. Normally it's the first one or it's the very last one, but to be the fourth entry, I'm sure everyone watching this is familiar with the character of Freddy Krueger and what A Nightmare on Elm Street is. But for people who are watching this and they haven't had a chance yet to check out this version of the franchise, how would you describe this film?
well, this film returns us to Springwood, Ohio, where all of the movies thus far have been set, and it follows on the heels of Dream Warriors, which kind of furthers the Freddy lore that the world of dreams has power. And it's not just Freddy who can seize control of this power, it's other people who can kind of tap in to the dream world. And in the last movie, Freddy preyed upon these kids who were at a group home, and they fought back by finding the power within themselves. And part four picks up with the survivors of part three who are trying to reacclimate to teenage life. They're back in high school, but they also feel a little different. And they know that there's this other thing out there that though they defeated it, it could come back.
Mm.
And when one of them starts having bad dreams again, she pulls the others into her dreams to be like, hey, Freddy might be back. We need to fight back. But they're not quite prepared for Freddy to come back stronger than ever. And they have to sort of recruit some of their new friends, including one shy, timid girl who becomes the Dream Master, the person who meets Freddy where he lives and forces him to finally have an opponent that can fight with his own brand of power. And so that's kind of why I like this movie.
Yeah, you mentioned it's a movie that you rented from the video rental store, but do you remember the very, very first time that you ever watched it?
Yeah, it definitely was on home video. I'm sure I was too young to watch it when it came out, but I was not too young to remember when it was coming out. I think that it's really hard to explain to people who didn't grow up during the video store era, but more specifically during the cable television era,
Mm.
how differently horror films were rolled out back in the day. We didn't have the luxury of each having a screen in our pocket and the ability to kind of curate our own individual viewing experience. You kind of watched what was on, and there were things like Elvira or the USA Network or MTV that were sort of gathering places for younger people. And I watched a lot of MTV because this was when MTV was sort of at its zenith. You know, it's the late 80s. They're showing music videos constantly. And every now and then, MTV would zero in on some new release that they just went ham on. They would like, advertise the hell out of it. And of course, as an adult now, I understand that was all part of the machine.
Mhm.
The New Line Cinema definitely partnered with MTV to make sure that this happened. But it happened also because by part four, Freddy was a pop culture phenomenon. And
Mhm.
so you would turn on MTV and they were marketing this movie relentlessly. And not only were they marketing this movie relentlessly, Freddy was appearing on MTV in segments that were MTV segments. It wasn't Robert Englund out there doing promo for the film. It was
Mhm.
Robert Englund as Freddy Krueger, not breaking character, hosting music videos, introducing
Gosh.
like Headbangers Ball and stuff like that. And so that was really, even before the movies, my first introduction to Freddy Krueger.
Mhm.
So I'm sitting there watching MTV, which I was obsessed with. I was obsessed with music videos. I was obsessed with just the whole kind of like cool culture of it all. And then here comes Freddy being like, here's Metallica or whatever it was. And so I just was like, I need to see whatever this is.
Mhm.
And so when the movie came out, I rented it and was immediately like, oh my God, this is so cool. Because smartly, in addition to marketing on MTV, I always describe this as the MTV movie of the franchise
Mm.
because the look of the movie is shot very much like a music video of the time. It's very slick, it's very pop culture. It definitely has the budget to be those things, whereas, some of the previous movies still kind of wore their um, rough and tumble roots on their sleeve. This
Mhm.
is the one where it's like, we're going to lean into all of the things that make the moment, that make the 80s the 80s. The soundtrack on this is big. It's like lots of MTV bands. There's lots of imagery that feels like it's straight out of the music video. The girl inside of the waterbed is something
Oh
that
my
could have
gosh.
been like in a Van Halen music video. I'm
Mhm.
sure if they had thought of it first, they would have done it. And so it was all of that stuff that it felt like a perfect encapsulation of that moment. And so when I saw this movie, I was like, oh my God, I love this. It was exactly what I wanted it to be when I saw it.
Yeah, it's such a fun entry into the franchise. It's funny you bring up MTV. I miss MTV so much the way it used to be. I remember I would rush home from school to vote for Britney Spears on TRL like every day. I was like, I
Yep.
gotta get her to number one. I feel like I single-handedly did it a few times, the number of times I would call in and vote for her. But that's such an interesting thing too about the promo. It's so different from how we get our advertisements now. I feel like I'm thinking of like recent horror films, right? Like The Strangers Chapter 2 or Him. It's all TikTok dances, TikTok trends. So different from getting someone like Robert Englund as Freddy Krueger hosting, a countdown or introducing music videos. I I miss that stuff so much and it's so fun.
It was something that truly spoke to the moment that you could have these characters from R-rated violent horror movies be so accepted by mainstream pop culture. I remember when Kane Hodder as Jason Voorhees was on the Arsenio Hall show,
Oh yeah.
and they had him sit there as a guest. I mean, he didn't do anything other than sit silently and be scary, but that was the point. And in that moment, it felt like everything was just sort of okay and allowed. And I'm sure many parent groups and like, many more conservative folks did not love this. But I think of that landscape as being way more free. And I think that we all, as children of that time, kind of got into it.
Mhm.
Maybe we shouldn't have, but we got into it because we didn't know any better. And so then you'd get movies like RoboCop, which was basically an NC-17 movie, and it would get a Saturday morning cartoon.
Mhm.
Tales from the Crypt had a Saturday morning cartoon spin-off. Freddy Krueger's hosting music videos. That would never happen now. Can you imagine like Jigsaw having a cartoon on Saturday morning for kids? It wouldn't happen, but
Yeah.
part of me wants it to, you know?
Yeah, the closest thing we're getting right now is Fortnitemares, where last year they did have Leatherface and they had Jigsaw the puppet. Well, they had Billy the Puppet as a character in Fortnite. This year, the rumor is we're getting Jason and we're getting Ghostface. So fingers crossed for that because I'm obsessed with it. But could you imagine if we got Freddy Krueger in Fortnite?
Yeah, I mean, I think Freddy is one of those characters that continues to endure because he's fun. I
Yeah,
mean, on paper, everything we know about the character should indicate we probably culturally shouldn't be obsessed with him.
right.
He's a child killer
Mhm.
with dubious background. And he revels in violence, but he's also like a drama queen. Like we
Mhm.
love that he serves these like RuPaul's Drag Race
Yes.
one-liners and is catty and bitchy and for some reason that transcends any of the things that people want to critique the character for and rightly should
Mhm.
critique the character for.
Yeah. So this film is directed by Rennie Harlin, who is the director of what I just mentioned, the new Stranger Things, or sorry, not Stranger Things, Strangers trilogy. And he also directed Die Hard 2.
Yeah.
That blew my mind when I read that. I was like, oh, I guess I didn't ever put that together. Uh, are you a fan of some of his other films that he's directed?
I am. I think that Rennie Harlan really had a cool moment coming out of the 80s and into the 90s, and it was very much because of the success of this movie. Prior
Mhm.
to this, he had done a few smaller budgeted films, including a movie called Prison, which is a horror movie with
Oh,
Viggo
yeah.
Mortensen right before this. But Nightmare on Elm Street 4 blew him up into kind of the public consciousness, and it paved the way for him to do Die Hard 2, which I really liked Die Hard 2. I think that every December when people roll out that, oh, is Die Hard a Christmas movie? You can make that argument, but Die Hard 2 is definitely a Christmas movie, and it has a lot of really fun things in it. But the movie of Rennie Harlin's that I always think about that I'm obsessed with is a movie called The Long Kiss Goodnight
Oh, yeah.
that he made with Gina Davis and Samuel L. Jackson, where she's like a suburban housewife who unbeknownst to her, used to be a sleeper agent spy. And when the people she used to work for come to kill her, her current family are like, "What's going on?" And she's like, "I'm just a mom who bakes." But then, like, she starts remembering her life before, and
Mhm.
she has to become this badass woman that she once was to save the day. And it's such a fun movie. It's actually a really great movie for the holiday season. And it's really a good showcase for Gina Davis. I don't think a lot of people remember it. I don't know that it was critically well received, but it's one of those films that when I find people who know it,
Yeah.
they really like it.
Mhm.
So,
No, totally true. So I was rewatching the movie earlier today. It's been a long time since I've seen it. I think the first time I ever saw it was a marathon on TV. There was like a Friday the 13th marathon on a Friday the 13th. But of course, on TV, heavily edited. Every time you're getting scared, it cuts to commercial for, I don't know, a mop or for toothpaste. So it was kind of nice to just sit back and watch it without any interruptions like that. Uh, I'm sure you know this, but the locations, they're all over LA. This thing
yeah.
was filmed in Culver City, Pasadena. The high school was Venice High School. It's so cool to see all these locations in LA. Have you had a chance to go and visit any of these locations since you've seen the film?
That's a great question. I don't know if I have gone to look at any of the places from Nightmare 4. I've been to the Elm Street house, which of
Mhm.
course recurs in all of the movies. But I don't remember if I've gone. But I know that Alice's house, for
Mhm.
example, is pretty accessible. I see people t posting photos from outside of there a lot. But
Uh-huh.
no, maybe this conversation will be the motivation I need to go and do that.
Yeah, it's so fun to see, especially older horror films, shot, especially in Pasadena. There's so many that are shot in Pasadena, and to see how things look now compared to back then, I don't know. It's always so fun for me to see. But this movie, like you mentioned, Freddy Krueger has so many great lines,
Yeah.
and I feel like in this one in particular, let's see, my favorite, I wrote it down. Oh, it's the waterbed scene, which you mentioned earlier, when he pops up and says, "How's this for a wet dream?" That's my favorite part. Do you have a favorite line or a favorite moment with Freddy in this film?
My favorite moment with Freddy in this film is actually the sequence where Alice keeps leaving the pizza parlor and it time loops and it
Oh
keeps
yeah,
going over and over again. And it eventually leads her into the movie theater, which now that we're talking about it, I have been to that movie theater, by the way.
the
So,
Rialto, right?
yeah, yeah. So,
Mhm.
I take back what I said. I've at least visited another location from this movie. But I love that because I think often in this franchise, we know that Freddy exists in the world of dreams.
Mhm.
And I know just for mainstream popcorn movies' sake, they don't often let the dreams get as weird as actual dreams can be.
Uh-huh.
There's often still like a linear, structure to how the dreams in these movies work, just so the audience can kind of follow what's going on. But this is one of the few times in the franchise where they really push the sort of surrealism and the abstract nature of the kind of flow of a dream. It's not
Mhm.
just that things are slightly off, it's that things keep looping. She keeps running out of the diner only to end up back in the diner. But it's not quick enough for it to just be a gag. It's like, oh, her dream just keeps resetting.
Mhm.
And I love that sequence. And I know that Robert Englund, it's his favorite sequence in the
Oh.
franchise as far as like Freddy's manipulation of dreams goes, because I think it really showcases who the character is as
Mhm.
well.
Oh, that's really interesting. I right now, while you were talking about this, was reminded of Madam Web because isn't there a scene in that? Did you see that movie?
I did. I just
Isn't
just the
there?
once, just the once. Yeah,
Me
yeah.
too. But isn't there a scene in the movie where it's like a time loop in a diner?
Yes. Oh,
Oh
there
my
is.
gosh.
They do that thing where
This
she
is toxic.
leaves the kids at the diner and they're listening to Britney Spears Toxic. You're right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Maybe there's like a connection there.
You may be onto something.
I think I might be. We already mentioned Brittany, then we're talking about a time loop in a diner. I don't know. There could be some kind of connection there. But that brings me to a question. This whole franchise is about dreams and nightmares. Is there a recurring dream or nightmare that you've had that sticks out to you?
You know what's funny is I'm in my 40s now and I haven't been in school in probably 15, plus years, if not more. I graduated college when I was like 24, 25 with my master's degree. So somebody else can do the math because I majored in English. Uh, but I still once in a while will have a dream as if it's the end of the semester and I find out that there was a course that I was scheduled to take and I didn't know about and I didn't go all year. And I still wake up and have that stress like, oh my God, like I didn't do this class. It's like this residual, academia trauma, I guess. And I'm
Yep.
sure that it also is a placeholder for other like work stresses that I have in my life.
Mhm.
But I didn't realize that was a recurring dream in my life until like only a few weeks ago when I had the dream again. And I was just like, oh, I dream about this every so often.
Mhm.
And I think it's funny because, like I said, I graduated from college in the mid thousands. It's 2025 now. It's been a long time. So,
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's an interesting one. I've had that before too. But I think the one that sticks out to me the most is I have nightmares that I either lose my teeth or I
hmm.
like severely damage my teeth all the time. And it freaks me out. And I know there's like some science behind that. I know there is. I haven't looked into it yet, but do you ever have that one where you like lose teeth or chip your teeth?
I have, but it's been a while.
Lucky.
It's yeah, but it is if it is. I've never had a chipped tooth dream, but it's like a lost tooth dream for sure.
Oh, I don't know what it is, but it freaks me out. That's like the one thing that I don't want to happen to me. I want to keep all my teeth. So
Well, yes, I agree with
if
that.
Freddie's watching this, don't do that to me,
He's like,
please.
taking notes.
Yeah, he's taking notes right now. Do you have any merch from, it doesn't have to be specifically from Nightmare 4, but do you have anything from the franchise at all?
I actually have like a drawer of like random like Freddy toys that I've been gifted over the years or that I've bought. I honestly wish that more merch was made of the kids. Like,
Oh
because when
yeah.
I was a kid, those were the people I looked up to. I
Mhm.
mean, I love Freddy, of course. I think that Rennie Harlan, actually, when he took on this movie, he said that, at this point, the audience viewed Freddy as the James Bond of the franchise. He was who they were going to see.
Mhm.
And I guess I get that, but I feel like so many people I know, and maybe this is more true with LGBTQIA viewers, we do also attach ourselves to
Mhm.
the survivors.
Mhm.
And we attach ourselves to the people who have to overcome those odds. And so when a lot of my friends were obsessing with Jason and Freddy and Halloween, and Michael Myers, I was interested in Laurie and Ginny from Friday 2, and I love Alice in this movie. And for the
Mhm.
longest time, Alice was really my favorite final girl because I think that she represented so much that I considered to be aspirational when I was younger. She was quiet and timid and she
Yeah.
was more bookish. I remember someone called me bookish when I was a teen and I was sort of like really like offended by it. But what I it ended up becoming a strength, right?
Mhm.
And that's it. Alice's things that like seem like a drawback at the beginning of the movie become her strength. And then her friends, her chosen family can further give her power throughout this movie. And it's like, yeah, I guess it's cool that there's Freddy Funko Pops. I have
Mhm.
one, you have one, I can see it
Yep.
in the video. But where is the Alice Funko Pop? Where
Yeah.
where is the Karate Kid Funko Pop? You know what I'm
Mhm.
talking about. So
Yeah, I bet they're going to come with an anniversary. I feel like an anniversary of one of the films will lead them to do more merch of the other characters, and then that'll be
yeah.
good. Yeah, you're
I
right. They should do that.
I do think there is a Funko, not a Funko. There is an action figure of her of the other girl being turned into the cockroach. I think I've seen a toy of that
Oh,
before. But it's also like here's the version of her getting like messed up. Like,
mhm. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That it'd be nice to have more
Yeah.
representation for those characters. Other than A Nightmare on Elm Street 4, what is your other favorite film in the franchise?
That's a really good question. I like a lot of them for different reasons.
Mhm.
I think it changes. I do feel a great amount of affinity for part two for a number of reasons.
Mhm.
I think the original film is, of course, great. Heather Langenkamp is awesome in the original film.
Mhm.
Heather Langenkamp is awesome in part three. But I think that Heather actually kicks the most ass in New Nightmare. And I think A New
Oh.
Nightmare is probably my other favorite in the franchise because I love movies that play with the concept of movies
Mhm.
and that meta nature. And that movie really did some cool stuff. And, you know, Wes Craven got so much love and credit, justly so, for Scream kind of ushering a new era of horror in. Um, but what I think that a lot of people fail to remember is that A New Nightmare sort of paved the way for Scream by having this whole meta version of the franchise that made him like a household name
Mhm.
before Scream even came out. It allowed him to be like, oh, people are interested in taking a closer look at this thing
Mhm.
and deconstructing it. And so when he comes back with Kevin Williamson like a year or two later and does that with the slasher genre as a whole, I thought that that was really smart. But I was like, oh, New Nightmare got us here.
Mhm. Yeah. A New Nightmare walked so Scream could run.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. Well, what do you want to see next for the franchise?
That's a great question. I think that there are so many people who have so many thoughts on where the Elm Street franchise can go. I don't necessarily believe that it has to be Robert Englund to come back. I think he's great.
Mhm.
I do think that he defined what the role is, but I also believe that Freddy Krueger being a creature that inhabits dreams and dreams can be anything,
Mhm.
there's a lot of opportunity to bring Freddy back, even with the original timeline where he appears differently. I
Yeah.
mean, I know Kevin Bacon said that he wants to play Freddy Krueger. That could be cool. Amy Sedaris could play Freddy Krueger and be amazing. Like, if you get somebody with the right amount of energy, I think they could step into the role and make it their own while also being true to what came before. I think because I love the original storyline, I would want them to stay with that. Like, where's Freddy been all this time? But I also wouldn't mind a fresh take. Um, In a perfect world, I would get to see Alice one more time because as of part five, she and her kid are still out there somewhere. She proved to be stronger than Freddy, but it's been 40 years.
Yeah.
Maybe, in the time that we were all asleep, he got stronger and she's got to fight back now that she's older. I would love to see that.
Oh, I would love to see that too. I don't know what I want. I'm conflicted because on one part it's like I would love a continuation. I recently was reading, I think it just came out like this past week. Again, it like resurfaced again that Robert Englund would like to do an animated series so he can play and voice
Mm,
Freddy again. I would like to see that. But then also it's like, well, maybe I would like to see like a completely different, fresh take. And the closest thing I think we're gonna get, I'm not sure because I'm trying to avoid spoilers and I'm trying to avoid like looking into it too much. But the Black Phone 2 kind of looks like it's gonna take kind of like inspiration from A Nightmare on Elm Street because it looks like there's a quick scene where it looks like the girl in the trailer is being attacked in her dream. So I'm like,
yeah.
oh, is that what they're gonna do with this? So we have something to hold us over until we figure out what we're gonna do next with the franchise.
It's interesting that you say that because last week I went to Halloween Horror Nights
Hmm.
and the tram that they do that's sponsored by Blumhouse,
Hmm.
while they're driving you from point A to point B, they show clips and trailers of new stuff that's upcoming. And they did play the Black Phone 2 trailer
Hmm.
and you're a captive audience. You're sitting there and you're gonna watch it. I would have watched it anyway, but
Yeah.
like, where we're just like in the dark on a train. So I'm just like, okay. And one of my friends that I was with as the trailer was sort of wrapping up was like, so he's Freddy now. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. But now that you say that,
Mhm.
it's maybe, maybe that was more intentional than I thought.
Yeah, okay, so we found some connections here.
Yeah.
We think that maybe A Nightmare on Elm Street 4 inspired Black Widow. No, not Black Widow.
Madam Web.
See, I've already forgot. I've like tried to block it out of my memory that I'll call her anything else. Madam Web. Then we're thinking maybe this also inspired the Black Phone 2. I think it's all connected. Just like, isn't that her slogan, Madam Web? It's all connected. She connects us all or
Oh,
something.
yeah, the web connects us all.
Oh my gosh. See, I think that we're gonna retitle this whole video The Web Connects Us All.
There you go. I'm ready. The Madam Web conversation. It,
Oh my
it's all
gosh.
it all comes back to go
Who
to
knew?
Dakota Johnson.
I never thought I would be talking about that movie literally ever again, but especially today. And we did.
We
And it's
did.
all it's all it's all connected. But Michael, I cannot thank you enough for taking time out of your day and joining me to talk about one of your favorite horror movies for the second year in a row. So exciting. Uh, if people want to keep up with all the exciting stuff you have going on, I know you have the Chainsaw Awards coming up. Where's a good place for people to come and follow you?
The best way to follow me is just at my name, Michael Varrati, either on Instagram or Blue Sky. You can also check out Midnight Mass every other Wednesday at midnight, where I co-host with my dear friend Peaches Christ, discussing the cult films that we love. Also, the Chainsaw Awards, depending when this comes out in October. I know you posted the calendar, but my brain is a mess right now. They do debut on October 19th on Shudder. So
Perfect timing because this, as long as I can remember correctly, will be out on October 17th. So perfect timing.
amazing. Well, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. And I'm so excited to see what you've cooked up with the Chainsaw Awards this year. Last year was so much fun. So looking forward to it.
Oh, thank you. I hope we deliver, and I think we do. So,
Yes, I can't wait for all the Madam Web references. Oh my
uh,
gosh.
we had one last year, I think. Last
Oh,
year, not
no.
this year, not this year, but
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you again, Michael. And everybody be sure to return next week where I will be joined by another special guest to talk about their favorite horror movie. Bye.